Tesla's headed to an $8.5 trillion market cap, with Tesla's board announcing a new 2025 CEO performance pay package for Elon Musk worth up to $1 trillion for him. Today, we're going to do a complete deep dive on this proposal. The deal, which would give Musk as much as 29% of Tesla shares if fully achieved, requires Tesla to hit targets such as $8.5 trillion market cap versus $1 trillion today, 20 million vehicles, 1 million robots, and 1 million robotaxis delivered, 10 million full self-driving subscribers, and most importantly, $400 billion in EBITDA versus $16.6 billion in 2024. This will make many long-term retail investors become multi-millionaires. Cern Basher is a chartered financial analyst running his own investment advisory firm called BrilliantAdvice, providing wealth management services. Welcome, Cern. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Herbert. It's good to be here. This is a very interesting proxy statement.
It's a very long drop. First of all, they dropped it, yesterday, and it's a shock for us. It's very long, but you took the time to try to do as much, review. I'm sure you're not complete because it's quite complicated, but there's so many little nuggets that you're going to share with us today that's important for investors to know. And I really appreciate that we're going to do this deep dive with you. Thank you for taking that time, and you put together the slides like you normally do. First of all, I highly recommend people to follow Cern on X at Cern Basher. This is the kind of stuff that he's able to provide, give you explanation what's actually happening. And he broke down Elon's 2025 compensation plan. Let's get started. Thanks, sir.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Herbert. The first thing I think to note is that this is not a stock option plan. This is a restricted stock plan. And to be more precise, it's a performance conditioned restricted stock plan. So there's some different wrinkles with this. The main reason that it's restricted stock is that when these tranches vest, and we'll get into the vesting schedule in a minute, when they vest, then Elon immediately gets voting power. With stock options, that wouldn't necessarily be the case. So that's why they went this route. But they've structured this to work like stock options. So they've worked around the limitations of stock options. They've made it financially very similar to stock options, but it gets Elon the voting power that he's looking for. And that's the principal reason that Elon's been asking for this. So this chart shows sort of the different tranches as it relates to the market cap milestones. And today, Tesla is about a $1.1 trillion market cap. That's a little bar there on the left. And there's the first tranche is at 2 million. And sorry, 2 trillion. 2 trillion.
Yes.
If I said million previously, I meant to say trillion. And that will unlock essentially about 35 million restricted stock units. And then if he hits the next tranche at 2.5 trillion, it unlocks another 35 million shares. And so what's showing there on the bottom is the cumulative number of shares that would vest over time. It's a total of about 424 million shares. And the last two tranches on the market cap milestone side are 7.5 trillion and 8.5 trillion. They go up by $1 trillion each, whereas all the other previous ones go up by 500 billion. So the last two is a little bit of a jump. Now, it's not just related to the market cap of the company. There's some other factors as well that we'll get into in a minute, but this is certainly a significant part. For Elon to receive all these shares, the market value of Tesla has to reach at least $8.5 trillion. And there's no company in existence today that's at that level.
And you're going to compare, Tesla did as well, the board compared to existing companies today. What does it mean, 8.5 trillion? It's funny, isn't it? That little bar is $1 trillion company. Just a few short years ago, there was no company on earth that was worth $1 trillion. Now the largest company is $4 trillion. And so Elon is motivated to at least double the company and then keep doubling it,
That's right.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
This is a great visual, and this was in the proxy itself. This is something that the Tesla board put together. So in order for Tesla for Elon to hit that first tranche at 2 trillion, that's equivalent to 36 General Motors. Okay. And in order for him to hit the next one at 2.5 trillion, that's 29 Ferraris, and then 12 Toyotas, and then 4 JP Morgan Chases. And then at 4 trillion, that's 6 Oracles, and so on. And then on the far right side there at 8.5 trillion, that's 2 NVIDIAs at today's, at NVIDIA's current valuation. Of course, these companies aren't standing still. This is just a snapshot of where we are today. But it does put it into perspective in terms of how lofty these market cap targets are.
Yeah, exactly. I like the way this is framed because, I mean, people go, oh, what an easy thing for Elon to take a $1 trillion company to $8 trillion company. That's easy. Dude, can you create an Amazon? Can you create two Amazons? Can you take 2.5? Can you create 2.5 Googles or 2 Apples? That's crazy talk,
Yeah.
right? That's like Apple's, everybody knows how incredible they are. That's what you need to do.
That's right. It's funny because I've seen a number of comments where sort of offhand they say, well, these targets aren't aggressive enough. Well, they're pretty staggering when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I made an attempt to sort of summarize a couple of things. So in the first line, shows Tesla's current situation in terms of over the last 12 months, they've had EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, of about $11 billion. And the market cap when I ran this morning before the market was open was just under 1.1 trillion. And so that's currently trading at 99 times the last 12 months EBITDA.
PE ratio.
The PE ratio on EBITDA. Yeah. EBITDA is a little bit different than the normal PE, but it's close enough. The target, if Elon was to hit the final targets, the 400 billion in EBITDA, and we haven't covered this yet, but this is the final target in terms of financial targets, plus the 8.5 trillion market cap target. At that point in time, if they happen simultaneously, it would mean Tesla would be trading at about 21 times. The next line down shows that in order to hit those two targets, they have to grow EBITDA by 36x from where they have been over the last 12 months. And market cap would have to go up 8x, essentially. Okay, so pretty phenomenal growth, not just in market cap, but actual earnings, which is key. Now, it's interesting, the board of directors mentioned in the proxy that they use Meta, Microsoft, and Alphabet as kind of the benchmark companies in coming up with this. And it's interesting, when you add all three of them together, over the last 12 months, they have had EBITDA of about 400 billion. And coincidentally, their market cap is about 8.5 trillion combined. And collectively, they're trading at a market cap to EBITDA ratio of about 22. So I don't know exactly why they picked just those three companies, but that's how they arrived at those numbers. Now, just for interest, I added 3 other companies that we talk about a lot that are among the biggest tech companies in the world: Apple, Nvidia, and Amazon. And if you combined all 6, you would get EBITDA of about 764 billion and a combined market cap of about $18.7 billion. Right? So the value in those 6 companies is pretty colossal. And they're trading at a combined value of about 24.5 times. The thing that I would say about this is that if Tesla hits the $400 billion EBITDA target, they're on their way to even higher numbers than that. And you can see that with Nvidia below, it's currently at about 100 billion in EBITDA, and it's trading at about 43 times. So I highly doubt that at the point that Tesla hits the $400 billion number, it'll only be trading at 21 times earnings. In my estimation, it should be trading at probably at least 40 to 50 times. So in that case, when that $400 billion EBITDA target is hit, its market cap probably won't be 8.5 trillion. It might be something closer to 16 or 17 trillion, maybe even 20.
Yeah, which is where Elon's been saying the number 20 trillion quite often. And then, so your point is this, right? I think it's absolutely good. NVIDIA is trading at 42. Let's call it PE equivalent because I know that's not exactly earnings. That's EBITDA, right? So let's call it PE ratio equivalent. 42 PE. 42. Why? Because NVIDIA is growing and everybody expects it to grow. Why is Apple only at 25 and Amazon at 18? Well, nobody's actually thinking that they don't have a good story to tell of why they're going to grow massively. But the point that Elon and Tesla is at 400 EBITDA, you're talking humanoid robots. And so they might, at that point, we're on our way to maybe 1 billion robots, right now. So how many robots is 400 EBITDA equivalent to? If you want to combine a robot being a car, an autonomous car plus a robot?
Yeah, it depends on let's say we just assume that a car or a robot makes about $25,000 in net profit a year. I think both of them actually could make more than that, and over time probably less as we get to scale. But in the early days, $25,000 for a Robotaxi or Optimus. So in that case, I think you're looking at about 16 million units in order to get to that number.
Of combined vehicles plus bots, right?
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
not terrible because we're
No.
already at, we have 8 million cars today, and a certain number of them will be turned into robotaxis, existing vehicles maybe, but then they have to create more. It's not terrible. Okay.
Yeah. It's a lofty target, but it's highly achievable for Tesla over time.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting this together. What a great way to think about it. Mm-hmm.
And then on the next chart, Herbert, this is something sort of from a shareholder perspective. So a lot of people have talked about, wow, there's going to be massive dilution. Well, I would argue, look at what you're getting. So let me just walk you through this. So when I put this together, the Tesla's market cap was 1.156 billion. Market had opened, the stock, the stock has risen a little bit today. The current shares outstanding, there's about 3.3 billion shares outstanding. Now, Tesla is also adding what's called a special reserve shares for Elon of about 208 million, and another 60 million for Tesla employees, right? They compensate employees through stock options. The extra 208 million for Elon are to make him whole on the 2018 compensation plan. This is in case the Delaware courts nullify the whole compensation plan. This is a backup plan to compensate Elon for what they previously agreed to pay him. Even if the court strikes it down, this is kind of plan B. Okay, so let's factor that in. Let's assume those shares are needed. So as we go through these different tranches, there's 12 tranches. And again, right now we're just focusing on the market cap aspects of this. There are some other requirements we'll get into in a minute. But as the company hits those market cap tranches, the numbers there in blue on the left side, 2 trillion on up to 8.5 trillion, you can see the market cap would grow by 7.3 times today's market value there at 8.5 trillion. Yeah. Now at that point, let's assume that all of Elon's shares vest. That's 424 million shares. So then the shares outstanding then grows, right? It's the initial shares outstanding plus the special reserve plus that 424 million shares. So now you've got about 4 billion shares, right? And so the price per share is maybe about $2,100 at that point. And the growth in the share price is 6.1, not 7.3. The market cap went up 7.3x, but the share price only went up 6.1x. And I say sort of only in quotes. But in this case, shareholders suffered a 17% dilution, right? As a as a shareholder, you had to give something up in order to incentivize and compensate Elon and the employees of the company to get to this kind of market cap, right? Now, again, it's a 6x in your investment, so it's still pretty attractive. But I would argue that at the point that they hit all these targets and all of Elon's shares have vested, again, it's not just dependent on that 8.5 trillion market cap being hit, but also some operational figures that we'll get into in a second, that the company actually may be valued at something more like $20 trillion, 400 billion in EBITDA times a PE, say, of 50. So in that case, your investment's gone up 14x. Yeah, the green number there on the right, right? But the dilution factor is the same. You still suffered a 17% dilution. That doesn't change. Right. So once that tranche, that $8.5 trillion tranche, that 12th tranche is hit and Elon gets to vest all the shares, the dilution is what it is. But I don't think that necessarily that investors, they're not going to suffer any more dilution from this plan at that point. Right. The shares are free to go as high as they want to or as high as is warranted at that point. So I just want to give some perspective. A lot of people are focusing on the dilution and saying, wow, the shareholders are giving up so much money here. Not really. And particularly if you think about the alternative of if you don't do this and Elon decides to move on to greener pastures because it's more exciting to be working at SpaceX and XAI and having more control and getting the financial rewards he thinks he deserves rather than getting paid nothing, then Tesla shareholders in that case would not be diluted, but you also wouldn't have much value. So stock dilution, normally you think of it as being a terrible thing, but if it incentivizes incredible results and incredible move in the stock price over time, 17% dilution is certainly a price worth paying. So hopefully I adequately explained this chart. It's a little bit complicated, but the main message is don't just focus on the dilution percentage, focus on what that upside might look like as these targets are hit.
No doubt. I think most investors are pretty smart about that. It's not an issue giving him what he deserves, really, honestly, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And then the most important thing is for him, as you said, it's not stock options. It's restricted shares, what do you call it?
The restricted stock units.
Restricted stock. And
Yep.
so it's most important thing is for him is his voting, right? Voting rights. And so if he reads, he's trying to get to 25% voting rights. He's mentioned that before. And this is how you get it. Now, if the 2018 award is excluded, here's what it would be. But if you do win it, the appeal and so forth, then here it is. And then, of course, there's also the plan B that can get him here. But basically, this is his plan. This addresses this issue that he had. If you need to be, it needs to be rewarding enough that he will get increase in his voting rights. And here you go. So if you get hits the two tranches, then he will get 15.4%. He'll raise his interest to that, and then 20%. Yeah.
That's right. And I don't really know why that middle column's included, because in my mind, the board has kind of made sure that Elon will get paid one way or the other. Either the Delaware court is going to reinstate that plan and reverse the decision, or that's not going to happen. And in that case, Tesla has set aside the special share reserve of 208 million shares, plus the interim amount that they announced a couple of months ago to get Elon whole on this plan. Mm-hmm. So I think that right-hand column is really the numbers to focus on. And so there's a good shot of Elon getting to 25, almost 30% of Tesla shares at some point.
That's good news. That's fantastic news. And then I was going to ask you this question. Some people brought it up. One of the other proxy proposals that we're going to vote on November 6th is, should Tesla invest in XAI, which of course Elon owns, I think 50%, 55% he owns right now. I don't know. But if there's some sort of deal, we have no idea what that deal is going to look like quite yet. If that happens, would that not also possibly increase his share ownership of Tesla?
Not directly. It would only do so if Tesla purchased XAI and XAI became part of Tesla. But if Tesla's just investing, if Tesla's just investing in XAI as an investor, it doesn't flow back to Tesla shares. In terms of
I thought one of the proposals might be a stock swap.
Yeah, and in that case, then there's a possibility of that if that happens. Yeah, okay. So we'll see how that plays out. But as we currently know, as we're currently aware of, there's nothing that we can see yet where that would increase Elon's ownership in Tesla. Fantastic. So we'll have to see how that plays out, Herbert.
Okay, so it's great. Thank you for giving us. I wanted to bring the big points right up in the front, and let's walk us through exactly what this award looks like and what we're voting on in November 6th.
Yeah, so the total award is, again, the 423 million shares. Too bad it's not 420 million. That would have been a nice round number. But it's effectively 12% of the share count, 1% for each of the 12 tranches.
I mean, that's just the way to think about it, right? 1% of each tranche. I mean, that to me is fair. If somebody comes to you and says, okay, if you can make my company 10x, I'll give you 1% of the value of that. Yeah, that's sounds pretty fair to me, but it's not 10x. It's like, you grow from whatever it is, the first tranche, I'll give you 1%. The next tranche, I'll give you another percent. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, if you think about it, for the first 10 tranches, every 500 billion in market value he adds, he gets an extra 1% of the company.
Yeah.
Right. I think most shareholders would say that's a pretty good deal.
That's like 50% of the company. Like right now, it's worth 1 trillion. So every time you could go up another 50%, sure. 2% for another, you double the company, I'll give you 2%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, of course, each 500 billion is less and less in terms of percentage of the company, but still, it's a significant value add if you can do that. Yeah. I think that's good to say there. And then the last two tranches on the market cap milestones, again, go up by $1 trillion, not 500 billion. So the last two are just a little bit more difficult. Mm-hmm. Okay, but there's also, and we haven't talked about this yet, but this is very important, there's also what's called operational milestones. So you need the combination of the market cap milestones plus any of these operational milestones in order to vest one of the tranches of shares. So there's 12 operational milestones. 4 of them are product related and 8 of them are profitability related. The product ones are interesting. One of them is 20 million Tesla vehicles delivered. Now, there's already over 8 million that have been delivered. So this is another 12 million vehicles in order for this to count. So pretty significant growth in the number of vehicles. The second one is 10 million active FSD subscriptions. And by the way, the board points out this does not include free trial subscriptions. These have to be paid. It doesn't say how much people have to pay. I guess you could charge them $1 for it, but I don't think Tesla's going to do that. The third one is 1 million bots delivered, right? Which seems low, and in the whole scheme of things, it is, but it still is a significant milestone for Tesla to have 1 million bots delivered. That's really something.
I'm not sure why that seems low. That seems high to me.
Yeah, and right there, again, my rule of thumb is for every bot is $1 million of market cap. So $1 million is going to be $1 trillion of market cap added if they can achieve this.
Okay, good.
Okay, that's the way I would think about this. And similar to Robotaxi, 1 million Robotaxis in operation is probably also similar math in that regard. In my opinion, I think the 1 million Robotaxis is probably the easiest of these product goals. The 20 million vehicles delivered will happen over time. But to me, the path to getting 1 million Robotaxis in operation is probably a little faster than making 20 million vehicles. And then the second set there is the profitability goals, starting at 50 billion in EBITDA, stepping up and going to 400 billion. Yeah, so here are the two side by side. So you have to take the combination of the market cap milestones. If the stock hits $1 trillion, and it has to stay there for a certain period of time.
2 trillion.
Sorry, 2 trillion. Thank you. You have to combine it with one of the operational milestones. These are not listed in order. So if the company hits 50 billion in EBITDA before any of the others, then fine, you can check that off. And then when the company hits 2.5 trillion, you have to match it up with one more of the operational milestones. Okay. So in that case, it might be 80 billion in EBITDA, or it might be 1 million Robotaxis in commercial operation. Okay. So it's a combination of profitability, and it's a combination of kind of some milestones that are kind of key performance indicators for the company. The board has decided that if the company can get 1 million robots delivered, 20 million vehicles made, 10 million people using FSD, and 1 million Robotaxis in operation, those are some really important milestones to hit to ensure Tesla's future growth prospects.
Okay. So to hit the very first tranche, which would give him how many more shares, or what percentage of more shares? 35 million shares, which is equivalent to how much?
1% of the company.
1% of the company.
Yeah.
He has to make the market cap of Tesla jump to 2 trillion. It's like 1 trillion now, so double the market cap. And in order to do that, though, you can't just go, oh, the stock jumped and now it's 2 trillion. You got to have at least one of these operation milestones. It doesn't matter which one of them, just one of them.
That's right.
Right. And so in his mind, he might go, okay, I think I can make it. If I can do, I mean, he's going to be working on all these. That's the problem. Like, he may not, like, imagine if he just got 400,000 robots, 400,000 robo-taxis, 2 million active FSD subscriptions or something like that, and only, of course, another 3 million vehicles delivered. He doesn't get that 2 trillion. He needs to have one of them hit.
Yep.
And that's why I keep asking you which one of these is most likely to hit to get even just the first tranche, just to get that first tranche. These are ridiculous when you think about it, to hit a tranche.
Yes.
I mean, you're not going to get to 1 million robots until maybe 3 years from now, if you're very lucky.
That's right.
You're not going to get to 1 million robotaxis, certainly not next year. You might, if you're lucky, you have, people think it's about 100,000 robotaxis in 2026. Maybe you get to 1 million the following year, maybe. But I'm thinking you think the robotaxis could be easier, but that's actual cars produced.
Well, not cars produced. It's robotaxis. It's not cybercabs. It's robotaxis in commercial operation, right? So that's, in Elon's mind, unlocking the fleet is an option there.
Which means he has to convince you and me who own our Teslas to put ours in there in order for him to hit this faster than just them producing 1 million. Now, can they produce 1 million cars? Yes. Sure. Because, they got the Model Ys.
Yep.
But instead, like you pointed out in one of the shows we had, was, Tesla may decide not to stop selling the Model Ys to consumers, and they can just go, okay, you know what? I'm going to save 500,000 of those Model Ys and just put it in my fleet.
Yeah.
And they're already producing those Model Ys. So they don't need to wait for the Cybercab to get up to scale.
And so the board has just created an incentive for Elon and the team to do that. There it is.
In order to get 500,000 Model Ys, or okay, 1 million robotaxis, whether it's Model Ys and Cybercabs, how many cities would they need to do this? And robotaxis in commercial operation, did you read what that means? Could it be just Uber? You actually have a supervised, or no, robotaxis mean unsupervised? Yeah,
there is some language around some of that, and I'll see if I can place my, find that as we're talking. But there are certainly some definitions around these things.
because the active FSD subscription, I thought initially was the easiest thing to do, right? Because FSD 14 is so good, and you already have 8 million people out there driving cars. You'd probably get, I don't know, that's a tough one. You're not going to get 100% of them do it, right? Because it's expensive. But maybe 50% of them. Mm-hmm.
The definition of robotaxis is the average daily aggregate number of at least 1 million robotaxis commercially operated by or on behalf of the company over a consecutive 3-month period as part of a transportation service.
But it could also be, it could be Uber. It could be supervised.
Could be. Sure. Well, operated by Tesla or operated on behalf of the company. So if somebody else has a fleet that Tesla authorizes as part of the robotaxi network, then that would apply too. Or your car, my car, if it's added to the fleet. Yep.
I'm just trying to figure out if it's okay to be supervised.
I don't think so.
Okay, so that's the question. Is like, does this a robotaxi means a robotaxi, which is unsupervised, nobody in the front. Otherwise, it's called ride-hail service.
There are some definitions in here as well. I guess I can try to find their definition of robotaxi, but I'm pretty sure we're going to discover that is unsupervised. Yeah.
Nobody in the driver's seat. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, robotaxi is mentioned in the report only 69 times, so it's not such an easy thing to find a definition for.
It's exactly 69 times. That's funny. Okay. I mean, I this is important. I mean, I'm trying to figure out in my mind which one of these he would do, and it's not good enough that he makes progress in all of them. He needs to hit one of them to get that. He might just go, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like, I'm not trying to hit the 2 trillion tranche. I'm just going to go right to boom. I'm going to go right to the big ones. Could you get to the 50 billion EBITDA with like mixtures of these 4?
Oh, sure. No, and I think they will get to that one first. I think 50, 80 are probably the first 2 that get hit.
So where are we at today again? 11?
11 billion over the last 12 months.
Okay. 11 billion last year. How do they get to 50 billion? You're the guy. You'd have to kind of figure out options of how this would happen.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's a 5x of where they are now. So it's significant growth across the board, whether it's in selling cars, whether it's Tesla Energy, and then, of course, robotaxi is going to have to be a part of that. I don't think you get to any of these early targets unless robotaxi is starting to ramp. And
so you don't think they'll get to, you get 50 billion earnings without a robotaxi service or a robot. If you don't have those two, like FSD subscriptions?
I think it would be, that's possible with that, I think, over time. If you had 10 million supervised FSD subscriptions, sure, you could get there with that.
But yeah, the likelihood of you getting 10 million when you only have 8 million and and that's hardware 3s too.
Right.
So, okay.
Yeah, when you really think about it, these are not insignificant challenges.
Even to get the first tranche is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then to get the 4 tranches, the 5 tranches, you need to hit each one of these, which are all like, I'm already debating now, when would you hit 1 million robots? What's your target for the first 1 million cumulative robots?
I don't have my model in front of me, but I think it's probably 3 or 4 years out.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Now, again, once Tesla starts to make humanoid robots and they've decided that they are ready to make them, 1 million is not a huge number. It's equivalent to probably making 10, 15 million cars.
What?
I'm sorry, other way around. Divide this by 10. It's equivalent to making like 100,000 cars.
There you go. Okay, so you're again, to just explain to people, to make a car, it's right. Tesla makes 2 million cars a year, right? Something like 1.8, whatever. And but to make a bot, it's 1/30th that's the weight. And that's one way to look at it. Yeah. And you're just saying, hey, it's probably equivalent to every car we make. It's probably, I can make 10 robots for every car I make. And if you think of it that way, 1 million robots is actually just 100,000 cars.
Yeah. That's roughly, I think at scale, I think it'll be,
of course,
it'll be less than that, but yeah.
Maybe that's what he's going to shoot first, but you think it's robotaxis. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what's on deck now. The bot is still being developed.
Could be,
right. It's going to take a little bit longer now. But again, once they start to make it, I think that's an easy target to hit pretty quickly.
I think.
But the robotaxis, I think, is on deck first. Yep.
Okay. Oh, gosh, this is great. Thank you. Okay, so let's go back to your deck here.
So we've gone through the market cap milestones. We've gone through the operational milestones. Right. Now, there's a 10-year time clock on this. If any of the market cap milestones or operational milestones are not achieved prior to the 10th anniversary of this award, all unvested shares will be forfeited. Right? It's got 10 years to make this work.
And if he doesn't get any of them, he doesn't get anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, there are some covered events. A covered event means an event, circumstance, change, or occurrence outside of Tesla's control that individually or in aggregate has a substantial adverse impact on Tesla's ability to achieve a product goal
Sure.
other than the 20 million vehicles delivered. Right. So that one is exempt. Right. But if they're saying that government bans humanoid robots, then that's out of the company's control.
Yes.
Right. So it says, the deemed achievement, I guess, in that case. Another interesting feature of this, that they are saying that in order for the 11th and 12th tranches to vest, to become earned shares, Elon has to work with the board in good faith to find a CEO successor. Now, it's important to note, and the board notes this in other materials, that it's the board's responsibility to do this. But they're just basically saying, hey, as part of this, we want Elon to be involved in this process, perhaps in ways that he hasn't been yet.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
it also
gives shareholders some comfort that Elon walks away from this with, $1 trillion of value. How do we know, he's going to stick around any longer, or how do we know things are going to be in good hands?
I heard some people say, and I don't know if this is even accurate at all, so please tell me, that this performance award, if it's approved, it's voted on, it's approved, it locks Elon in for 7 years or something like that. I don't know where they got that
we'll get
from.
to that in a second, I think, Herbert, in another table here, if you go to the next one. So there's a holding period. So the earned shares, he must hold them for at least 5 years after they become earned shares.
Poor guy.
Okay. So there's a holding period on those. Yeah. And then further, there's actually a rule in there that basically says that if he wants to sell them, he must dispose them in an orderly manner upon consultation with Tesla. And I can imagine this is kind of relating to what he did when he sold shares to buy Twitter. This may be sort of covering that, is to say, hey, the company gets a say in how you do this. If he decides to buy Disney or something in the future. To pick a silly example, I'm not suggesting that he'll ever do that. Yeah, so anyway, there's a bunch of different things. The change of control provision, any earned shares will vest upon a change of control in Tesla. This also addresses maybe the voting kind of situation as well, that it sort of, makes it harder for somebody to try to take control of the company out from under Elon prior to all these shares vesting. So, there's just some different nuances here that I think are important to him. This gets into some of the details, Herbert, in terms of the product goals. What's 20 million vehicles delivered?
Yes.
What's a Tesla vehicle? Well, basically, it's anything that they make now or any other new vehicle, including variants of existing vehicles, right? A vehicle is not a bot. They explicitly say that. It's understood that any bots shall not be considered Tesla vehicles. So again, just to be clear, okay? And they explain what delivered, and delivery mean. And then the 10 million active SSD subscriptions, aggregate number over consecutive 3-month period, et cetera. And they do include any licensee authorized to sell subscriptions on behalf of the company. So there's a nod to future potential FSD licensing. Yep.
That could be the way that they get that. There you go.
Yep. We'll see.
You partner with a big auto company.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, 10 million is achievable FSD subscriptions. Oh.
Yeah. So that one could be interesting.
Yeah, because I always assumed it was, you now need to have 10 million Teslas.
Yeah.
Who would turn this on? Well, yeah. Okay.
And it says, for the avoidance of doubt, the foregoing excludes free trial subscriptions and is generally intended to count a single user with 2 subscriptions as 2 distinct subscriptions. I guess if you have 2 cars, Herbert, if you have two vehicles, 2 subscriptions, that counts twice.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
It's fair.
Yep. 1 million bots and so on. And then 1 million robotaxis. That's all defined there. Robotaxi is a vehicle including cybercab, regardless of the marketing name used, that it uses FSD and is used for other transportation services without a human driver in the vehicle. So not only behind the wheel, but just in the vehicle. So
Sorry,
unsupervised.
okay, so it is unsupervised. Thank you. We figured
Yep.
that out. Without a human driver in the vehicle or any other replacement enhancement such. Okay, there you go. So
Yep.
that is a true robotaxi. But look at this one, the bots, hey? They just say any robot or physical product with mobility using AI, including Optimus. So that is an interesting thing because I think that I think he's all in on a human or robot. But what if they created a smaller bot, a Roomba, something that, not that it would be a Roomba, but something like that. They could get that million bots even faster.
Yeah, I would be surprised, but
Yeah.
over the long term, I do expect Tesla to develop some other form factors for robots. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because it won't necessarily get you closer to, because the human or robot's the one that's going to give you the most earnings, not smaller bots. But yeah, 1 million bots delivered. You might be able to knock that out.
Right.
I'm Elon. I'm thinking,
That's right.
how would I do this? Okay.
Now, this one, sorry, it's a little hard to read, but there's a table in the middle that sort of compares the three different grants he's had: the 2012 Performance Award, 2018, and then 2025. It's just interesting to point out that the market cap in the 2012 award was 3.2 billion, right? And the minimum total shareholder value created at final market capitalization milestone would be 40 billion under that plan. So that was pretty aggressive. And that was a stock option plan. The 2018 was also a stock option plan, and the market cap at the time of that was 53.5 billion. And it needed to go to 600 billion in order for Elon to receive all the awards there. And that had a 5-year holding restriction period, which is now similar in this new one. And now we've got a market cap of around $1 trillion, and the company has to, sorry, this is the value creation. So 7.5 trillion added as opposed to 600 billion added last time. So they've significantly increased the amount of value created in order to get these shares. And you can see the market cap increment has pretty much gone up by a factor of 10 each time, 4 billion to 50 billion in 2028, in 2018. In 2025, it's now 500 billion increment, with the exception of the last two, which is a trillion increment.
Yeah, each increment is 500 billion now. Last time it was just 50 billion, just.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. And they've added this time the product development goals, whereas before they just had EBITDA and revenue.
Yeah.
They did have some product development goals in that first 2012 award, so this is not new in terms of that.
Okay.
So that's a nice little summary there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So in the proxy, the board did a special report from the committee that worked on this, and it's very, very interesting. Some of the things that they highlight, and I'm not sure if we really have charts for this, but they talk about the goals of the companies to be a provider of autonomous solutions that have the potential to transform our society. Right. And they say, we have concluded that retaining and incentivizing Musk is in fact mission critical to Tesla reaching the next step towards its world-changing autonomous future. Right. And they go on to say, it's equally clear to us that Musk has the passion, drive, and resources to transform any business into the most valuable company in history. We believe it's in Tesla's best interests and maximizes shareholder value when Musk chooses Tesla, because retaining Musk's vision and leadership is strategically essential to realizing Tesla's full potential. So they provide a lot of support to Musk here. They talk about Master Plan Part 4. We were talking about in Cyberbulls, Herbert, a couple of days ago about why they published that. Well, it's referenced in this proxy document. And they call this 2025 CEO Performance Award tied to Mars Shot, not merely a moonshot. Mars Shot milestones consisting of market capitalization milestones, EBITDA targets, and product development goals. And then they go on to talk about how they want to honor the bargain they made with Musk and the voice of the shareholders.
Yes.
Right. And so they're very creative about how they've structured in these performance awards. They've had this interim award that they announced, I think it was in June or July. Now the special reserve shares, and then this compensation award to make Elon whole. And they take great pains to go over all that. The other thing that they mentioned here, why is it critical to retain and incentivize them? And basically they talk about how he only has a finite amount of time he can devote to all his businesses.
Mm-hmm.
We fully recognize that Musk has more attractive options today than ever before, which may afford him greater influence over the fruits of his labor with SpaceX, with XAI, with Neuralink, those other companies. So they say that we believe any CEO, and for that matter, any human being, would be hesitant to continue producing for a company that fails to deliver the payment he or she fairly earned in the past, especially when such a company and its shareholders have already benefited from his or her efforts. And they go on to say that they think that really only Elon can lead this company, and therefore it's important to make sure he's retained and fully engaged. We believe that Musk singularly possesses these leadership characteristics. While other notable CEOs are credited with building extremely successful businesses, Musk has accomplished this feat several times over. Anyway, this is really a nice report. There's, I think, a couple of charts there, Herbert, where it shows Musk's achievements.
Yep.
These ones. And again, we don't need to go over these in detail. I think your viewers are very familiar with all this. But certainly, unboxed manufacturing is something we haven't seen yet, but that's coming.
Or was that
the last one there? Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then regionalized supply chain, that certainly helped. And then autonomous robotaxis, the market cap increase, and so on. So the board is really putting their weight behind Elon and supporting him and verbalizing that support. They talk about how Elon has created numerous unicorn businesses. His portfolio of achievements outside of Tesla is vast, and the following are a few examples of his successes across sectors. Musk consistently transforms his bold ideas into multi-billion-dollar ventures, cementing his status as a rare serial growth-driven value creator.
Multi-trillion. I mean, like, okay,
Yeah.
let's say people go, every headline today says Tesla awards Elon $1 trillion company. That's what they focus on. $1 trillion. That's what they focus on. That Elon's going to get $1 trillion. And everybody thinks, my God, that's greedy. Look at this guy. That's not fair. Why does he deserve a $1 trillion? Look, dude, if you don't do this, he could be a trillionaire regardless. Think about XAI. XAI alone could make him a trillionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about AGI. If he says, okay, Tesla won't pay me anymore, I'm off, I'll just focus on XAI. I can make, because he owns like 56% of this company, 50 plus percent, or SpaceX, right? He just makes that happen, more faster, he finds an asteroid mining and he's got his $1 trillion. I mean, it's like if he wanted to, he can really get $1 trillion any of these places here. These three anyways, I don't know about Boring Company, but these three, you can certainly become a trillionaire.
Oh, I think
individually.
So. Yeah, and maybe with a Boring Company as well.
Really?
Instead of transportation being 2D, it becomes 3D. There's tremendous long-term opportunity for that. Yeah. But the board goes on to recognize, and they say that these ventures that Musk is involved in besides Tesla give him the opportunity to develop new innovative processes that may not fit squarely within the Tesla mission, and therefore should not be built using Tesla resources. But they offer favorable synergies to Tesla, and they highlight XAI and the development of Grok, right? And how that'll be, the chatbot inside the vehicles. And then the knowledge from SpaceX, their rapid prototyping, vertical integration, and cost-optimized manufacturing have inspired Tesla's innovations such as gigacasting, right? And the Cybertruck exoskeleton and the unboxed production process they cite as coming from SpaceX. So the board recognizes that Elon just can't be contained to Tesla. And they go on to say that requiring him to divest his equity holdings in other companies or otherwise restrict his activities, or the crazy idea of keeping track of the time he spends on Tesla, that's my ad, it's not what they said.
Yeah, I know.
Is not an employment condition that Musk is willing to accept, nor is it a condition that is desirable to Tesla in light of the above rationale.
No, it's not. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you said, oh, okay, Elon, you can only spend 10% of your time on XAI. Okay, so then he focuses on Tesla. But then you're not going to get Grok. And Grok is the brains for the bots and the autonomous vehicles. And then all of a sudden, OpenAI is way ahead. And now what do you have to do? Partner with OpenAI and they become the brains and you just become a commodity of a bot maker and the OpenAI can then make other bots smarter than your bot. I mean, that's pretty obvious that we're very fortunate that he spent a lot of time with XAI that then is part of our benefits for Tesla.
That's right. And they also suggest, or they go on to say, that it must be acknowledged that few, if any, CEOs work for free. To date, Musk has only received a portion of the compensation he was promised, et cetera. They go on with that. They talk about retaining and incentivizing him. They say, we believe that Musk is motivated by a passion for quests to better humanity through the development of technologies that will save people time, improve quality of life, and heal the environment.
Yeah.
And then they do say here that Musk requires assurances from Tesla that his work is valued and that he will be treated fairly.
Yep.
Right? So they're saying now is the time we need to do this. Without Musk, Tesla may be viewed as just another EV car company and would likely no longer be viewed as a momentous force in the AI and robotics industries, threatening to reduce Tesla's valuation, future growth opportunities, and its ability to remain a leading contender in such industries. Anyway, it's a very lengthy discussion about why this is so important.
That's a legal thing. They need to make sure that they communicate that to shareholders, lest we get yet another judge comes in and says, "Oh, you didn't communicate well enough." Okay, let's finish off here. I thought that was a great way to explain it again to everybody. Even just to achieve the first tranche of this new 2025 CEO Performance Award, if it's approved by shareholders, Elon needs to hit a market cap of $2 trillion and any one of these. If it doesn't come in any order or whichever, but one of these happens, plus the 2 trillion market cap, then you get your first tranche. So he's motivated to do just hit one of these things. We covered that earlier. Tell me what this one is.
Again, this is a nice display that shows the two components. The market cap milestones, there's 12 of them. And then in the middle, the operational milestones. 4 of them are product sort of milestones. And then the other 8 are the financial milestones.
Yeah. Any of these, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And then you combine any 2 of those and you get 1% more ownership in the company.
What happens if, for some weird fluky thing, the market cap jumps to 5 trillion, which is, let's say, 4 trillion. Let's say 4 trillion. It's 4 trillion market cap because it's now equivalent to an NVIDIA. And then they got to 80 billion earnings, but none of these others were hit. Does he get basically 5 tranches right off the bat?
No, you would get 2 because you would meet both the 50 billion and the 80 billion. And if nothing else was covered, you'd only get 2 in that box out of the 12.
2 tranches.
Yeah, 2 tranches.
That's crazy. You're crazy.
So
this is crazy.
If the market cap gets ahead of the company's operating numbers there, then he doesn't benefit from that.
I guess what I'm worried about is you're setting him up and saying you must do FSD, robotaxis, and bots. What if, he's able to, all of a sudden the world changes quickly and then there's a new business that he's able to create. And all of a sudden you get to the 4 trillion immediately, some sort of device that all of us, like a Neuralink device, something like that. Just easy product. I don't know. What if?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
This is from the board. This shows the kind of growth that would result if, for example, they hit the 8.5 trillion over 5 years, that bottom number of 52.7% compound annual growth per year. If they did it over 10 years, it's 23.6%. There's not many companies that are capable of growing at this rate.
Yep. It's a good way to tell people, okay, you think that taking a company that's 1 trillion to 8.5 trillion, giving him all that, percentage, and you think that's unfair? Okay. What we're asking the CEO is to grow the company 52% if he hits it in 5 years. It's 23% every year to hit it at 10 years.
Yeah. And by the way, Herbert, there's a really interesting section in the proxy. It's Appendix A. It's titled Summary of 2018 Performance Award Backtesting Analysis.
And where is it? Is it here or no?
No, we don't have the chart for it, unfortunately. I'll just kind of talk through it. But they looked at 113 companies that were at least a $50 billion market cap, the same market cap that Tesla was at the time. And they looked at the rules that Tesla had for Elon to meet. How many of those companies would have met all of the different tranches, just like we just looked at? Okay, Tesla met all 12. NVIDIA met 3. 3.
Yeah. Yep.
8 companies met 2, 15 companies met 1, and 89 companies met none of them. So of all the $50 billion companies that were there, only a handful of them even achieved some of those goals. That's how outstanding the execution was from the 2018 compensation plan.
So if you had picked one of these $50 billion companies, because at the time Tesla was worth $50 billion, and then you go, okay, I'm going to make my bet on that CEO and that company. If you were lucky, you hit NVIDIA maybe of the 100. If you chose not to do Tesla, and you'd only have hit 2 of those tranches.
Yeah.
3.
So if they compensated Jensen in the same way that Elon was compensated, with 0 guarantees about pay, he would have hit 3 of the tranches.
3 of the 12. Elon happened to hit all 12 in 3 years. And the only one of all these $50 billion companies, 100 plus billion. That's fantastic.
Yeah. That's a little nugget that I found in the report just before we started recording. So I didn't get a chance to send you the slide, but it's
that's a great,
quite interesting. Yeah. There was an independent company that did that analysis.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, right? That's the kind of analysis you need to include in the proxy for people to understand that this is, whether it's fair or not, fair or not fair. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you got to send that to me. I got to be able to spit it out if somebody asks me, this sounds unfair. Let me tell you. Yeah. But that's 2018. To be curious to see, I guess there's no equivalent today of a 2025 comp plan.
Well, not yet. Again, we will only know 10 years from now how many companies could achieve anything like what Tesla is setting out to do.
You take all the companies that are $1 trillion today and see where they are 5 to 10 years from now compared to what Tesla did.
That's right. Yeah.
Even NVIDIA. Yeah.
We'll do that show 10 years from now. We'll let everybody know how it worked out.
I have a feeling we actually will, Cern. I have a feeling you and I might actually still be wanting to do this. Well, no, who knows? Okay.
Like, you remember the day 10 years ago?
Okay, let's wrap this up. What else do we have here?
This is on the operating side of things. This is showing the EBITDA targets. If they were to hit these different targets, if they were to hit the 400 billion over 5 years, that's a 91.6% compound annual growth rate.
Every year.
Over 10 years, it's a 38.4% per year.
Every year
doubling. It's a colossal growth rate.
That's crazy. Okay, and then what's this?
I think this is just a summary of some of the things we've already talked about. The one thing, Herbert, I just wanted to mention to you, and it's not in these charts. I took a look at if the entire 423 million shares vested all at once, and I just did it all at once because it makes the calculation simple. Let's say they vest when the company becomes an $8.5 trillion market cap. And at that point, the share price, let's just say for make it easy, is $2,400. Trillion dollar. That would be $1 trillion value to those 423 million shares.
Yeah.
And that may be the number that the media has been picking up today in terms of $1 trillion compensation to Elon. Okay. Yeah. $1 trillion. How much would he pay in income tax? Well, it would be income to him of $874 billion. Okay. And taxed at 39.9%, he'd pay about $344 billion in taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in addition to that, there's something called an offset amount. And this is what Tesla has done to make sure this behaves like a stock option. He would owe Tesla $142 billion in cash as an offset to receiving the stock, but they want to make it like an option. So he has to pay them back $142 billion in cash. Okay. So of the $1 trillion in value, he has to pay either in tax or to Tesla a total of $486 billion. And he would get to keep a mere $514 billion of it.
It's not fair.
Right?
Yep.
Now, again, if he wants control, he needs to find a way to keep all these shares. So he's going to have to borrow $486 billion. So not a small number. Now, of course, the value of his shares at that point are, is worth a lot when you consider that he's already got, a good chunk of the company. And then maybe the 2018 compensation plan, he's made whole on that. Elon's going to have a lot of value in Tesla stock and certainly could easily borrow against it.
Or sell some of those. But these new restricted stock, he cannot sell them for 5 years
Correct.
after achieving a tranche and a tranche and a tranche. So, I mean, honestly, it's like 10 years from now before he can sell something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Earliest could be, let's say, a year from now, he hits one of these things. Now it's 6 years from now before he can sell something.
It's good news to shareholders in the sense that we've got a highly motivated CEO. We always have, but it's also telling us that he's not planning on leaving anytime soon.
Did you answer that question? Where did you say that we were going to get to it? That he was actually kind of locked in a little bit?
I'm sorry, it may have been in one of those other tables that we skipped over.
Yeah.
Not sure if you're able to place
Which
that.
one is it though?
Good question, Herbert. It's in lots of different places. There's one here I see for holding period. The 5-year holding period begins when a share under the 2025 plan becomes an earned share. Only shares that have both satisfied the holding period requirement and that have become vested shares can be transferred to a third party for value. But basically, it's a 5-year holding period.
Yeah, I know that, but there's the point that he must be the chief executive officer or an executive of the company still.
Yeah, that's in there as well.
Yeah, that's the part I want to know.
There's a lot of little nuances to it. I believe he doesn't have to be CEO. I believe he just needs to be still associated with the company.
Right, I understand. I've seen language before, but just something like he needs to be, because that's the main goal here. Get him his his voting rights, number one. And I think for him, that's what he's articulated. That's his most important thing. Obviously, fair compensation. That's his first one. The second one is, for us shareholders, we need to know that Elon is going to stay. You reward him with something like this that motivates him, but also, just get rid of this concept that he's going to leave the company.
Yeah.
So
and by the
We've
way,
locked him in.
The existing 410 million shares that he has in Tesla today, and that excludes the 2018 compensation award. So it's the shares he owns today at $2,400 a share would put him at about $1 trillion on those shares.
Just the shares he owns today. And that's that's a great way to do it. Stop and think. You're a retail investor right now today. The stock is what, $320, whatever it is, $300 something.
330 something, yep.
If he hits these markets, it's going to become 2,400?
Potentially, if the market cap is 8.5 trillion, yes, in that range. Yeah.
Let's just assume it's 2.4 trillion from $300 to 2.4 trillion. We're talking, like you said,
$2,400 a share at 8.5 trillion valuation. Yep.
Yeah. So that would be, let's say, eight times.
Yeah. And again,
six.
At the beginning of the show, we factored in dilution. I think it was maybe 2,100 a share. So
yeah,
give or take in that range. Yeah.
So your shares will 6x if this happens.
Yeah.
And we both agree it's not likely going to be just 8.5 trillion market cap at that point. I think the shares will be much higher because we're talking at that point, you are accelerating robots. You are. If you hit any of these milestones.
Yeah. If you put 1 million robotaxis on the road, you're probably headed towards 20 million. If you put 1 million bots into the world, you're probably headed to 100 million or more, billion robots. Elon's talked about billions eventually. So those are just milestones in this journey. 1 million bots, they're just getting started.
That's going to be my clip. That's my intro clip, your teaser clip, dude. That's the most important part. Thank you. Cern, we owe you a huge thank you. The amount of work you put in is incredible. We turn to you, Jeff, and Alexandra, of course, to give us the details of what matters. And you created new slides to share us exactly what to understand. And there's a lot of nuggets that you shared today that you pulled out to make sure that we are aware of it. Thank you, Cern. Follow him on his X account at Cern Basher. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Herbert.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.